Governor Kasich, welcome.
With that audio, Brooke, this morning I was looking at my iPad and I saw there was an opportunity for me to listen.
Yeah.
I couldn't listen to it. I mean, I listened for a short period of time, and it's almost enough to make you cry for these children. And you think about the terror that these children go through when they're being snatched from the only thing that supports them and helps them and loves them. And then I just was stunned at looking at this now, and these border agents, making fun of this. I don't like to ever run around or tell somebody they ought to be fired or whatever. If they were working for me, they would definitely be out for a while and maybe gone forever from that job. This is not something to joke about. And Brooke, what I am not understanding about this whole debate is it seems as though we have lost our sense of humanity. That these are people. This is flesh and blood. These are children.
Yeah.
You know what our Lord said about the children? They're the most prized. They're the ones that we have hope in. They're the ones that we love. And I don't know how so many people have become so hard-hearted. When you read the Bible about this, and it says that there were people who were hard-hearted and they did unbelievable things to other human beings. We don't have this right.
But Governor,
we do not have the right to not treat our children with great love and kindness.
But the president could end this today. He has children. He has grandchildren. Where is his empathy?
I don't know. Unless they are thinking, well, we'll go through the pain here and it'll fix everything. It will not. And children are not to be used as a pawn, as a leverage point. It's just wrong. And
does it feel to you that they are using children as
I can't
pawns?
read his heart. Look, I'm not in the business of reading other people's hearts. I have learned that is inappropriate for me because of my faith. But what is appropriate with my faith is the fact that I need to speak out when I see things that don't represent justice and kindness. We're all guilty, Brooke, of not being as nice as we should be. And I'll be the number one person to say that I can oftentimes be nicer and more kind to people. But I don't mind when somebody says to me, step it up, John. That's not you, okay? Well, what I'm saying is, Mr. President, you can't do this. You don't want to do this. You think deep down into your soul, and you'll find that we have to have another way out. And Brooke, if I were president, I've thought about this, and as governor, this is a humanitarian crisis. You bring all hands on deck, is what you do. You bring everybody together and say, okay, how do we deal with this in a comprehensive way so we don't split families, so we show kindness, so that we love our children? That seems to me is not being done, and there's some political battle or words or where we depress our base. I mean, come on. This is it's wrong.
The Homeland Security Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen, was just asked in the last 24 hours, flat out. She was asked, is this child abuse? This was her response.
10,000 of those currently in custody were sent by their parents with strangers to undertake a completely dangerous and deadly travel alone. We now care for them. We have high standards. We give them meals. We give them education. We give them medical care. There's videos. There's TVs.
Videos, TVs, meals, that's great, and that's one thing. But nowhere in her response, I've listened to this a few times now, there was no reference to the psychological, the emotional ramifications of these children being ripped from their parents.
But she must not have heard the tape. I mean, if all you have to do is listen to that tape for a few minutes about the wailing of innocent children. And, by the way, we ever stop and think why they're showing up there? They're showing up there because many of them feel as though that their entire families are at risk because of gangs, drug dealers. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't have appropriate asylum. You know, we have to make sure that our border is protected, but there's ways to accomplish both of these things. My concern is that perhaps some people are using this as a way to kind of inflict a punishment and send a warning to others. You don't use children to do that.
Who's the some people,
look,
Governor? Is the some people the President of the United States?
Well, look, I've said what I have to say. I think they are misguided on this. I think they need to search their hearts. I think they need to think about the way they would want their children or their grandchildren to be treated, as the great commandment is, love your neighbor as you want your neighbor to love you. Love these children as you would want people to love your children. And so I don't want to be into the name calling now. You know, this person, that's, you know, let's just take a deep breath and let's think about life and its meaning and our responsibilities.
But what about, Governor, some of the politics of this? CNN just released this new poll showing 58% of Republicans approve of this policy of separating children from their parents. So, Governor, you know, despite how strongly you feel, it seems like you're out of step with your own party.
Yeah, well, you know, Brooke, at least it's moving in the right direction. For most of these policies that I think make no sense, he's getting 80, 90% of the support. Maybe Republicans are waking up. Maybe they're beginning to realize that this is not the party of Abraham Lincoln. This is not the party of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan would, look, I knew Reagan, okay? There's no way, or George Bush Sr. or George Bush Jr. None of them would have done this, okay? None of them would have been in this situation. They would have figured out a way to deal with it. So we're off kilter now. But, you know, 58%, I wouldn't have been surprised if you'd have told me it was 85%. So
wow.
It's moving in the right direction, because this is tribal. Look, we are all broken up into tribes now, and it's, you know, I wear red and they wear blue, and this is infecting everything. Now, let me suggest one other thing. When you think about this latest policy on the government not defending people who have pre-existing conditions in health care. I mean, that's unbelievable. I don't know if Republicans really truly understand what's happening. I don't know if they get this. If I went to their door and I said, do you believe that we ought to strip these children from the family? I don't think they would be saying at 58% yes. I just don't think so. But everybody who's on that side, think about your children. Think about your grandchildren. Think about what you learned from your mother and father. Think about what you learn when you go to the church or the synagogue about the way we're supposed to treat other human beings. I know I'm going on here, Brooke. It's just so disturbing to hear those children crying.